Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this week's episode of the Gym Owners Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Stone. Over there's John Fairbanks. How's it going, John?
It's going fabulous.
Before we dive into today's episode, make sure you follow the show at the Gym Owners Podcast on Instagram. Go to gymownersrevolution.com and go to the link in the show notes for the Gym Owners Revolution Facebook group. If you want to work with us directly, go to gymownersrevolution.com or send us a DM on Instagram at Tyler F. and Stone. That's Tyler EFF I and Stone. And you, John?
On Instagram at jbanksfl.
All right. Today we're going to talk a little bit about like being specific in your marketing, being specific about the programs that you're creating and the way that you're selling things. We've touched on this in regards to specific training goals, right? Like, bulking up, slimming down, versus strength program versus, just the types of things that you're doing, designing, selling within your gym. The fitness journey that you're crafting for some people when you launch a new program, product, offering, whatever that is. There's another factor I think to take into play that some of us miss when we talk about getting leaner, getting bigger, or powerlifting or endurance, any of this stuff. We kind of miss out on the most basic kind of like structure in the human psychology, which is like male and female. I think it's very important when I start to see a lot. I know that a lot of men are going to not connect immediately with a program that is just general for all, general population, men, women, all ages. Men my age, or at least with my particular training makeup, that's not that appealing to me because I feel like I'm not all of everybody. And I think the same thing applies to women. I think the same thing goes for when women are, sorry, my camera's frozen, but get to that
You're
later.
good.
The same thing goes for females, because when females are looking into a program or they come into a gym or they're looking to start a new training methodology, they want to feel represented either in your marketing or at least in the consideration that you give for their specific needs when you're talking about getting them started and all that stuff. So that's a concept that I think is really important for us to hang on to, because you can also just look for representing these people more thoroughly in the marketing. Also, I think it's okay to start to craft specific programs. I'll reset my camera here, but we'll get to what those are. John, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's a thing when it comes down to the marketing and when it comes down to like the people that you're wanting to be able to attract, there is a lot of conversation. If there's any conversation at all, if you're thinking about it or have thought about it at all, like how you want to be seen or perceived by people that are in your community, a lot of times it stops like at your marketing. Like once you get people in, and there is that, and the biggest reason why is if you're in the game long enough, you become responsible for more and more things as a gym owner. Like if you get big enough, you get staff, you start doing enough things, you probably went from a solopreneur doing this on your own to now you've got people, and now you're thinking about your social media accounts. Now you're thinking about your Google accounts. Now you're thinking about email, and you're thinking about all this other shit. And you just don't have enough time in the day to then, maybe you used to program, maybe you're doing that all before. That's probably, what would you say, Tyler? Like, how common is it at the stage where as a gym owner, you give up doing the programming, maybe from the very beginning as designed, where you're just going to buy that programming that is a done for you proposition, just that monthly subscription where you don't have to worry about what today's WOD is going to be or what the programming is going to be.
I think for gyms that are successful, that's got to be one of the early steps, because it's silly, laborious. And by the way, the gym owner, I don't know, should always be that hands-on. I agree that stuff should be farmed out probably pretty quickly in the process.
Well, and at some point,
Gym owners that are too controlling, too possessive over those things, that think they're so awesome, are the ones that hang on to that for too long. They don't understand that like most fitness works for most people, and then it's a matter of just what direction you're going to point your particular brand at.
And so what happens is if you outsource that, I think what happens is you outsource the literal doing, but you also outsource thinking about it as well. And I think that that's where the mistake lies. You can outsource the literal doing where someone now gives you a nice clean package and it's done. But the idea that you don't, for us, right? You do not try and then tweak it or make some type of an addition or some type of alteration to truly make it your own. That's where I think that is what has to happen. I think that then falls in line with what we're talking about here, which is the idea of like, who are your people? is this for are these for chicks? Is this for dudes? Are these for kids? Is this for fill in the blank? Because you can kind of take anything that gives you a foundational start and just make just a few tweaks. And now you have something that is more customized and feels more appropriate for the population you're wanting to help.
And I think there's a big difference between, I think delegation can very quickly turn into a out of sight, out of mind,
Oh
not my
yeah.
problem, it's not on my desk type shit. And I think that that's a big trap that people need to look out for falling into, because um, while you do, it's just like, handing off your classes or some personal training to some of your staff. You still need to be checking in on how that's going. The quality control of all of this, the buck does stop with you. Unless you have a general manager whose job it is to take care of all of that stuff, then the buck stops with them, and then you still need to be responsible for it. You still need to check in with them on how it's going. Uh, the quality of the work that you're delegating out, I think, is critical. Now, specifically who that's directed at, I think that is a secondary but nearly primary importance as well.
Mhm.
Now, the baseline, like John just said, the baseline of some of the stuff that you're doing is a starting point. I'll give you a really good example. I started with the weight loss, nutrition, and workout program thing that I've been launching digitally for, it's been a while now. But it just works really well. But it's built for dads, directed at dudes, very masculine branding. The conversation that I'm having in the dialogue and the marketing is something that I understand because I'm a 40-year-old dude and
Right.
that I've been where they are. So it's like, hey, listen, guys, you got kids. Your kids need to look up to you. Blah, 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 blah. And then you get into the funnier stuff, which is, yeah, don't be a fucking wuss. What, you can't just grill food. You can't just eat meat. So that whole thing is very directed at men. That was why I wanted to make that program. By the way, if I make that program for men and women and then I announce it, just like at the exact same time with the same vigor and effort and consistency in marketing that I did before, do you think I sell more or less? Absolutely less. I would have
100%.
sold way, 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 way less, even though it's the same program, even though the messaging could have been more generalized, because the program does not sound like it's fit, like a direct custom fit for this specific type of person. It's going to turn that type of person off.
Anything that's marketed to everyone is marketed to no one.
Exactly. And I think that's a big problem that we create a little bit of a paradox in thinking, John, when we talk like this, but it's the reality. Um, because the lifetime fitness journey is there are many different things that many different people can do. And your gym, I think we hope for gyms, the gyms that are going to be around for a long time, need to be able to kind of cover a lot of ground in that. A lot of different people, a lot of different types of fitness, not everything, but you need to cover some ground. You need to cover while people's interest in fitness expands, you need to have a place for them, right?
Mhm.
Until you don't. But in that, again, specificity is still king, I think, and that's very important. So while we say things like that, which is your gym's got to have more offerings, or else they're going to find their next thing somewhere else. It is okay if you're the gym that is just extreme lifting, crazy, sweaty dudes, dirty floors. That's totally fine. But no, you're not going to cover a ton of space in someone's lifetime fitness journey. That if you're going to have somebody for 10 years, that's going to be the singular type of training that they're probably going to be interested in.
We've done the same thing though. You and I, like a positioning where it's like, do we what are the types of people that we want to work with that are personal trainers, coaches, and gym owners? Like we quickly identified, oh, people that are further down the path that are looking to be able to make just like one micro tweak that'll then make them X amount of money. We're like, oh yeah, so like fuck those guys because that's not interesting at all.
Oh, you want to just plug something new into your gym and then get 100 more leads a month? Great. That's not fucking real. And we're not interested in doing that. And if you're interested in that, you're a fucking sucker. And I feel like you got a lot more problems than we can help. So I
And
agree.
that's yeah, so we very much made that same decision where it's like, no, we know, yeah, there's going to be certain people we're just not going to fit, and we want to be able to fit with people that are they're getting everything off the ground and they're ready to turn right that passion into a profession. We're starting that like kind of getting your engines fucking running and getting and going to go, and that's the same idea where in your gym you can make that decision of whatever you want to be and you can own that, but you just can't. We can't you and I can't go like, well, why the fuck aren't we getting more people that just want to be able to have an ad service that's then tied to 30 leads in 30 days? It's like, well, no, because that's not what we're not going to ever complain about it because we know. And that's where maybe if you haven't done the thought exercise within your own business, it may be confusing. Why aren't I getting more? And then fill in the blank.
And by the way, that may be okay, but that thought exercise I think is important because when I would go down that, it's like, man, I'm not getting any women. Well, Tyler, you're a 300-pound man who kind of talks like an asshole a lot. As you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not the most feminine marketing. This is the things that I say and the things that I do. It just doesn't connect. But I can bro down pretty damn hard. So, and I can dad talk pretty hard. So it that does work. So in this program that I built, it's directed very specifically at men. This camera thing's gonna make me nuts. I'm just gonna disregard it. It'll be what it'll be. Video may not be great for this one, guys. I'm sorry. But for this program here, it was launched for men. It was very successful for men. I was glad that I did it that way. But then I stripped it down to just nutrition only because, again, we're having a hard time connecting with guys that were just not ready to work out. Or
Right.
guys would reach out like, they just don't believe that they can make it to the gym four times a week for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I get it from a person that's starting at zero, like making one or two, implementing a couple changes that can get them some momentum is important. I don't believe that they're going to be able to just show up to the gym constantly. So when I start to do this new program, I started to look, okay, well, what would I do differently to make it so that these guys didn't have to go to the gym? So I just pulled the workouts out of it. I pulled some of the food quantity down. I pulled some of the carbs down just a little bit. Then I made that's pretty much all it did. And I made one announcement and it sold the hell out of it. Tons of guys were stoked to buy it. I probably could sell it for the same amount as with the workouts, to be honest with it, for the same amount of money. Didn't, but I think that is again that narrowed the target. The target area narrowed up even more. It went from men basically above a certain body weight, above a certain age. And then it got boiled down to, now that type of guy who's actually so far back in their fitness journey, they can't imagine starting to work out, but they do
Right.
want to do something. And then boom, now it's very, very easy to connect. And people really, really like that. And the guys really want it. But then we started looking, and I would occasionally get, because my marketing every once in a while is general, I get a woman who would ask, or a husband who would ask whose wife was interested. And I thought, well, there is some interest in this, but it's not going to be from me. You know what I mean? It's not going to be. I don't want to make that. I don't want to coach that. I understand the male psyche a lot better than I do the female psyche, and I'm absolutely okay with that. And in regards to weight loss, I'm very familiar with the way that men operate. Let's shoot this a pause quick, John. Okay, we're back. So the program goes out to males, and then I start getting some interest from females potentially looking for some weight loss and at least ready to ask about, do I have a program for ladies? And they would ask that specifically because my program is fortunately branded very thoroughly for men. So that is actually a good sign. It means I was marketing it very directly at the target demographic, so that other
Yeah.
people were like, well, this isn't for me, but I want something like this. And when you start getting questions like that, I go, okay, well, fortunately, my wife does this type of stuff, but she doesn't have a package program template like this. She doesn't have something. She knows what she would want to do, and she's done nutrition coaching kind of one-on-one for people and clients, but it's not systemized. It's not systemized in a way that can be easy to send out and easy to fulfill on, and where the process is there. From everything I had already built, that framework, like we talk about, was download this app to check in. Just those little basics, all being done, covers a lot of the thinking, the structure. This is it's the version of already having your building and your schedule and your electricity fucking turned on in your gym. Like, this program was already pretty much ready to go. Just the things that it said needed to be tweaked, and the quantities needed to be directed towards females. So we did that. She just made one little announcement, sold 8, 10 of them right away. You're like, okay, well, fuck, I guess I got to make this thing. And so we really had week 1 done as like a test to be like, okay, how does this read compared to the other one? And that was it. So we put that one out, and we've just been reskinning, applying the exact same changes week 2, week 3, and on. And it's nearly over, and tons of success. Her clients are very happy. I'm watching her do the the dialogue, the back and forth, and answering the questions and getting feedback. And it is very different. It's much better that she be doing this than I, because it is it's really interesting. Women are stoked about checking in. They're stoked about the
Oh,
feedback. By the way, if you send uh, this is I don't know, this isn't gonna sound like sexist or anything. This is my observation in this narrow thing. But you're like, I'll send my guys like a page of writing about a bulleted list of here's some tips, points of emphasis. John, you've seen the program. Here's what
yeah.
we're looking for. Don't do this. This is a little bit of teaching, a little bit of expectations. Each week goes out along with the here's what we're eating, here's what we're not eating, and the quantities. And I know my guys go scan over it like fucking Rain Man, absorb way none of the information, and then just kind of fucking wing it, right? Exactly what I would do. This is how I read instructions on everything I put together at home, right? Instructions are just another man's opinion. And I think that's how a lot of guys take this program. I've had a lot of guys be very successful, but I know they're not like meticulously reading this and can't wait to go. But the her women do is most of them do a great job of they'll start tracking. I don't have my guys track like literally like log their food into an app and send it to me. I don't do that. She offered that as something like if you want to do this, you can track it, weigh your shit, and send it into me each day. That'd be sweet too. In addition to their normal check-ins, and most of the women are stoked about it. My God, you give a man another task, he's out. You
Yeah.
give you give a female like some more stuff to think about and some more processes and a checklist and stuff like that. Like I don't know, they seem to be really fired up about it. So they're stoked about the details. They're stoked for the little challenges. Those little tweaks that Megan did add to the program to make it more feminine directed,
Mhm.
um, really does shine. And so I'm watching them be very excited, get very good results, and I'm watching her be able to like really coach. There's tons of back and forth on their check-ins. My guys are like, "Here's what I weighed this morning." I'm like, "All right, fine, yeah, I don't care. That's cool. As long as you're on track, we're good to go." But it is different, the psychology and the way that they execute these things. Even though in theory, right, the principles of weight loss should all be the same. Mostly.
For sure.
But I think that weight loss is psychological. I think fitness is there's a huge mental health component to fitness, wellness, nutrition, all of this stuff. So I think that that dealing with a person's psychological, what's the word, predispositions,
Baggage.
extremely important. And knowing and people who can identify early on in a program's marketing or the way it's directed or who is actually promoting this program, people that identify like, oh, this really checks all the boxes of what I want. That's perfect because a big, huge dude talking to a bunch of chicks about weight loss is just not really going to work. It's like, listen, ladies, here's the thing I'd like to see you do. You're going to check in every morning. Like if it really does, it's going to sound like me telling them what to do versus if Megan's going to do it, it's bubbly. And here we go, girls, let's do this together. And I'm like, all right, dorks, you send me your shit. And if you don't, I'm going to be pissed. And if you don't, that's usually a pretty good sign that you're failing and blah. Just doesn't work the other way around. But
And what's interesting for me is I'm applying it to teen athletes
yep.
and primarily boys, right? Like young men. So what's interesting is being able to compare notes of the program that's built for dads, right? Dudes over 40, but then seeing like, oh, this psychosis, right? Whatever the baggage is that it is getting formed when they're 13 and 14 and 15 years old. Cause I see like similar questions, similar bubblings, or similar, it's not even questions because we're talking about like teen males, which
Yeah.
ask no questions at all and give you no feedback whatsoever, right? But their excuses are identical to the
To the
same
dad.
excuses that to the dads. Like it is always like, oh, this is why those excuses that we all know that we hear people make. By the time they're 40, you realize that they've been using that excuse since they were 13 years old for why they haven't been able to do shit.
Yeah. So I think, I guess what we're getting at here is like, you can take the things that you do well and direct them at a more specific audience and try them. I think that's the real gist of I guess what we're kind of getting at today. And I do believe very wholeheartedly that like the differences or whatever between men and women are like it's actually a thing that can really help you with your products. If you're in your gym and you want to launch a nutrition program, I don't care. Have March be fucking women. What I don't know. What do we have for? You can have like you can launch a women's weight loss challenge. You can launch a strong girls, strong women, strong bodies program if you want to do this. You can have we've had gyms that do a women's only class. And by the way, that's a great opportunity to have an intro class to have it be someone's day one if they're a female want to join the gym as a whole. So there's a lot of things you can do to make things more welcoming for people that feeling unwelcome is a concern, or simply more can make them seem more customized for a person who feels like maybe they're trying to train differently than everybody else in the world, or at least that they're not training the same as everyone in your facility. So you'll have people in a CrossFit gym, a functional fitness space, who want to get stronger because that's the stuff they like. You're going to have people who want to become better at endurance or want to get better at you're also going to have people that want to get better at the gymnastic stuff. This is to simplify this, guys. What happened once CrossFit became about the time CrossFit peaked in popularity? What had happened in the 2 years prior to that? All of the little things that go on in the CrossFit training methodology, because all of a sudden there's now millions and millions and millions of people drinking the Kool-Aid, sucking on the teat, right? That now what do you see? CrossFit gets into sport specific training. They literally launch CrossFit HQ has the CrossFit football or CrossFit performance.
God, I forgot
Right.
about that.
They have which by the way wasn't bad. When they say CrossFit football, it really wasn't bad. It was literally just teaching these CrossFit people, like, here's how you need to actually teach squatting. And here's how you do this stuff instead of just doing Metcons and bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think Wellborn and the Power Athlete crew did actually a pretty good job of it. But the branding was fucking stupid, in my opinion. CrossFit football, like, oh, stop. But they did. Then there was CrossFit endurance, and then there was CrossFit gymnastics, and there was all of these little certs. There was a CrossFit powerlifting cert. But what that actually gave you by when they were giving you those add-on certifications was actually empowering you not to change your CrossFit classes to make you better at that, but to actually launch a better program for those people. And I think that's actually a piece that a lot of people missed is they go like, okay, cool, I'm going to take the fucking CrossFit runners course. And then they come back and they just like still run a 5K once a year in their gym, or you know what I'm saying? Like they don't never run anything more than a mile, but at Murph. And so instead of actually taking that thing and saying this is specific enough for you to be interested when you're coming out of this pool of everything, that somebody else would be too. And it gives you a way to get people either into your gym from outside. It's like, oh, I didn't know they did actual strength power training. I thought it was all just kipping pull-ups and dumb shit. Or it can take your people who are stuck doing all of the stuff in your gym and they can narrow up their focus to the things that they like the most. So specificity is really important in whether it's in gender, whether it's in mood, whether it's in goals, or just the type of training that somebody wants to do. I think it's very important to factor that in. And if you're looking for a direction to move, I don't want to say this because I haven't maybe thought it through, but if you're looking to make a move to do something new or something a little bit different, I don't know that opening up a new thing for everybody or trying to claw at everybody is worth your effort. I do think if you're looking for something, maybe you're stuck, ask around. There might be just one thing that'll move the needle for one specific group of people. And I think then you have the ball rolling for something that it can be another pillar in your gym for a long time.
And the way I would bring this into like some actionable steps you could do in your spot is just look around, right? Take an assessment, even if it's just mentally, of what are the different type. And this is that like that customer avatar type bullshit, but this kind of stuff does get relatively important, which is simplify it to regular layman like human speak, which is what are the types of people that are in your gym? Like just take an assessment of it. Take a look, get an idea, think about, and I oftentimes like to think about like doing this with your top paying people. Like who are the people, what pop, your top 10%, whoever's paying you the most money, who are they? What types of people are they? Are they stay-at-home moms? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they doctors? Are they lawyers? Whatever it is, right? Whatever that happens to be, whoever's paying you the most money, and categorize them, like lump them into groups. And if you lump them into groups, because this is one of the ideas where we've seen mistakes where a gym wants to go after an untapped population of people in their community that they haven't fucked with before. And we've seen a CrossFit gyms that want to do a running club because they just think that might be like, it's, you don't have anyone that wants to actually do this in your spot, and that makes it very, very hard. Like, you have to at least start where who's actually here. And once you can establish who do I have that's here and do I like those people? If I have a bunch of fucking dicks that are here and they're all douchebags, it's like we need to root these motherfuckers out. So that, and it's equally important. But once you do that thought exercise, you get, all right, I got 3 or 4 different types of people. And this brings it all the way back to what we've been talking about. For me, it's then you want to start thinking about, when it comes to your marketing and advertising, because everything's going to come off of that. It's now, think of it as in seasons. It's going to be stay-at-home mom season. It's going to be early mom season. It's going to be whatever you want to think. I don't know why moms are the ones that are stuck in my head, but it's like, it's going to be whatever it is, whatever your different types of people. You dedicate true 6 to 12 weeks where you just go get them, and you get it where it's your marketing, it's your advertising. It's, if you want to come up with an intro type class, or a beginning on ramping type thing, or even just an event, like an activity that's really dedicated to targeting just that particular population. This is not turning your gym into fucking, we're now only Olympic weightlifters now, but you are going to really hard hit them where you have your general shit that may always go out, but you're really going to only talk to that group, because then, like magic, the leads that you get will be people that are specifically connecting to that lead, and then they're coming in. You're looking to hire people. Like, it's important, if you're going to hire people, if you're hiring new coaches, or you continue to grow this stable or bullpen of part-time coaches and personal trainers and people, it's, do their interests align with my different types of people I already have? Because now your ability to take somebody coming into your business not want to be a moocher, but they want to pick something up and run with it, because then they show up and they're like, well, fuck, all of these people like connect to the thing that I kind of already dig. I like doing team specific or sports specific training. Well, goddamn, I got all these people that are interested in the same thing. It almost empowers them to, like, you're pitching them a meatball right down the middle. It's like,
Well,
bitch, I'm
do you know why a lot of
good.
like functional fitness gyms struggle to sell like off-season performance stuff to high school students? Because all they're selling is fucking CrossFit on their marketing. They don't,
Right.
it's not built as though it's a different program. It's not built as though we're actually, this is strength training. Here's what this is, here's what this isn't. All they see when coaches go and they look at your marketing, if you're not making well, you may have clients, by the way, who are high school students, who are high school athletes, who want to maybe work with you directly or privately or in small groups or one-on-one or whatever. And their coaches, I've been there, their coaches are like, no, you can't go to that CrossFit gym. You got to come lift with us. And it's, why would you just go there and do that? Which I get it, because the coach doesn't know that to be any different from body pump or F45 or any of these other things. He's like, that's a different type of thing. That's not what you need to be doing. And I think that when they look at your marketing, they go, all right, well, I don't know, you got a bunch of moms, and then you got some general population, and you got people doing like bad technique, and they're just jumping rope. And why are they snatching for time? Why is this guy trying to do 50 deadlifts in 60 seconds? Like, what the fuck is any of this? It looks stupid, and it looks stupid, and it looks dangerous. So no wonder these coaches go, well, this doesn't seem like performance coaching. This doesn't seem like just gritty, real strength training. It seems like some trendy bullshit. And it's important to make sure that you're trying to get off, and you don't have to. But if you're wondering why you're not attracting people to your youth off-season program, your teens off-season sports program, that's probably why. Because you don't tell them what you're actually doing. They go, youth off-season, blah, blah, blah. But then when they look at, that's all you're saying. And then when they look at your brand is that's like me going, compassionate women's weight loss by Tyler Stone. Here's my program. And then the people look through my shit and they're like, this guy's a loudmouth dickhead. You know what I mean? He cusses. That doesn't seem like that's the thing that he's really doing. And they're exactly right. Like, I'm not the compassionate, considerate, slow burn kind of guy when it comes to the lies you're telling me about what you're eating and what you're not. I don't fucking care. So I can't be the no nonsense, I take no bullshit from you and no excuses from you guy. Well, then trying to pitch no, let's work on this together. It's going to be just me and you and your feelings. And I'm going to I'm going to
Right.
validate your emotions before I tell you that it's fucking stupid to eat 2 bowls of cereal before bed. I'm going to make sure I've validated your feelings about why you needed to do that. And then we're going to move on. Like nobody's going to expect that from me, regardless of what I say when I'm trying to sell that one program. So I think it's important that you make sure that your overall stuff checks all of those boxes, or at least when you get into promoting one program that is very different from the other stuff you do, you're going to need to be thorough about what it is and what it isn't. And you're going to need to market it a lot more than one post, which we got to talk about that, guys. This is still the biggest cancer I see in fucking fitness is these gyms that are like, they'll make one post about one thing and then they crawl back in their fucking hole for a month. And then the rest is general nothing. There's no ask. There's no nothing. You got to be pretty noisy about who you are, what you do, the things you're trying to sell, who it's for. And you're going to have to be beating that shit up constantly because you're not here to entertain via your marketing. You're here to fucking sell. You're here to be a professional and
And
direct your shit, back it up, tell them who it's for, tell them what you're going to do, tell them about yourself or who's going to be fulfilling it and why you're the person they should go to and not the fucking other people, blah, 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 blah. You got to do all those things. Instead, people go, it's like sticking a sign out in your yard. It's like, does that really move the needle? If I stick a Trump sign or a Biden sign out in my yard, how many votes do you think that compels people towards? I mean, fucking none, literally none. It's just me going, hey, it's me. And I see so many fucking fitness centers do that where they're like, summer class, kids, register by the next month or don't or whatever. And it's the end of it. And they go, I don't know, it didn't really work that well. It's like, well, you didn't fucking try. And I think this is one of those things that trying to zoom in on who it is and all the things we talked about today. That is what trying actually is, because you cannot always just raise your hand and expect people to start giving you money.
no, and that's why I said 6 to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't 6 to 12 posts. This is the idea where you now like you take your entire ecosystem of what you have available, the nutrition service you have available, how you talk about your personal training, what classes that you have, what events that you have, your market, all of it now is going to target that particular person, that specific niche, that avatar, whatever you want to go after. Because here's the beauty. If you have 3 or 4, and we're going to keep those numbers, is that's awesome. Then what you're doing is that you can do this cyclically every single year. You can target and specialize at these groups. And once you get good at being able to talk to a group for about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you now have all of that content and all of that style locked in that's now going to connect with those types of people. You don't have to do it where I'm only talking to somebody for 6 weeks, then I'm only talking to another group for 6 weeks. Like once you can understand how to do this and you get it built into your system, you can now have it roll out where it's now peppered throughout all of your content. And now you can mix it, but you don't get to mix it if you don't know how to fucking advertise or market just generally at all. Like
Yeah.
if you just are struggling with the doing, it's like, then we need to just focus you on the one thing because we're completely neglecting. And you need to understand that the superpower here is the word of mouth that happens after the fact. Once you get a certain style person, birds of a feather flock together. It's not a surprise that a lot of my friends are all big, bald, bearded people because those are people that are attracted, or guys that swear a lot, or drink whiskey, or smoke cigars, or whatever. All my friends seem to want to do this. It's super weird. And it's not fucking weird. It's because that's how it works. So if you attract one of me, I will then attract the others that are like me, and they'll want to come too. And now you have this thing where it's this flywheel where you just got to get it moving. And if you can get it moving, then it just keeps going on its own. But for a lot of you, it just sits back and you don't do it at all. Like if you're a fucking CrossFit gym, do you know what you don't have to market?
CrossFit.
Fucking CrossFit. That's done for you. Like, but for a lot of you, you don't get to. If you are Jim Bob's fucking fitness center, no one knows what the fuck you are. So you have to kind of plant some flags violently and loudly in the ground and say, this is who the fuck we are. And because otherwise, I'm going to make a judgment of what I think you are.
Well, and then not only does that keep that judgment that people make, that keeps a lot of people away, but also by being too non-specific, you're going to get we call misaligned leads, which really are just low quality leads. Very often it's a low quality lead. Sometimes if you're running ads and things like that, or people that are just kicking the tires, not very interested in buying or not even close to buying. And that's one way for it to be a low quality lead. The other way to have a low quality lead is they go to your spot and they go, oh, never mind, this isn't anything that I would consider doing. That you One of the reasons you need to be thorough in informing people about what it is you do and what the vibe is and making consistently promoting yourself, is so that people actually know by the time they're ready to pull the trigger, they should have seen lots of things about you. Because if this is where all these guys, like I said, you one and done post to try to sell something, you're fucking up, because so people need to see a ton of things in order to be able to be compelled to buy, especially compelled to make a phone call or fill out an online form or drive into your place and walk in to talk to a stranger about signing up. That's a huge barrier to entry. That's not me hearing about the Doritos whatever, the Doritos taco shell thing or whatever that was,
Yeah.
right? What is that called? If I Los Loco Doritos Locos Tacos?
No way. Was it Los Locos
No, I
Doritos?
think it's Doritos Locos Tacos. Los Locos was the gang from the Johnny Five movie from Short Circuit. Uh, anyway, like I can just be like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a big deal for me to drive through a Taco Bell drive through because I've seen 100 commercials about the Doritos Locos Tacos. You know what I mean? But I don't have to get on the phone. I don't got to have a meeting with a guy to pull the trigger on such things. I can be in and out in 45 seconds and nobody can see me. I don't got to show up to the Doritos Locos Tacos factory to fucking eat them every day or 3 times a week. Showing up to a gym is a big commitment. So just know that people need to see, they're going to see a lot from you before they move or they move forward. And if you're not actually giving them any real information about what it is that you do there, it's going to be very tough on your attrition if they do get signed up. But also, you're going to waste a ton of time trying to close people who have zero interest in what you actually are, because you're not talking about what you actually are and directing it towards who you actually want to be doing business. You're just blasting it out at everybody, and then you're going to get anybody. That's not always a good thing. So keeping that stuff tight is, I think, very important. That process, we talked about it, your system, but this really is your marketing calendar. Is all this really is. It's like you just have to go, all right, I need to talk about this program. And by the way, this isn't just programs too. I think that's important to clear this up. This isn't a new program for men, a new program for women. It can be. But I think it's also just that, like, you have I hate these marketing languages, but like customer avatar, who are like, what's like the 3 or 4 types of people that you work with that are in your gym right now? Just what are they? What's their age? Where about is their income? What are their interests, fitness level?
Where do they
What is
work?
the types of fitness they've done in the past? Where do they live? All this shit. When you come up with a few separate entities that you've kind of like boiled at least the top 4 or 5 of those into, then you start building your marketing towards this. So it's going to be to dad's weight loss, like off-season stuff for middle schoolers. You know what I mean? Parents looking to just drop the kids off, daycare vibes. Moms, you want moms to come into your 8:30 class. You want to sell a specific class that's low, identify who normally goes to that class, right? My 8:30 a.m. class, 9 a.m. class, that's housewives class. It's the chatty hour, and that's fine. But make sure then that is the thing that you're talking about if you're trying to fill that class. Because I can't be talking about big heavy squats and ripping sweet pumps and big juicy pecs and then wonder why my housewife's morning class is like completely fucking dead, just completely dead. I can't be making no blue collar talk, no blue collar directed language, and then wonder why my place is completely empty after 5:30 p.m.
And what we're doing is we're telling you exactly what we do. So like this is the start of being able to put together like solid game plans with every single gym owner or personal trainer that we're going to work with. We want to look at these things. We got to understand who are the people that you're trying to market to. And then how are we going to build out, just like you said, we're building out your calendar, and it's everything starts from here. What we're going to market, who we want to talk to, it then is this massive trickle down effect where you see it ends up for me becoming a beautiful mind scenario where I end up working off of a whiteboard, or I end up working off of something where I'm sketching everything out, because everything leads to another. It ends up being they're all linear connections to who am I trying to attract? What services do I offer? What types of events? Like when we break out a year, we want to break it out into 3 month chunks where we're now looking at what are we going to try and target? What are events that we're going to do? What are classes or specific special like seasonal type things that we're going to target? And then that comes from the programming and the classes and the nutrition, and everything starts coming together. And that's where things just start they feel like they start magically working because everything is always pushing in the same direction. That's when things don't make sense, and you'll be like, I don't understand why this isn't working. And that's how you start to diagnose the problem by being like, well, something not working is a symptom. It's a symptom of a larger problem. So let's go find the problem. And all we have to do is work our way backwards from how aligned is this to what you're trying to do. And if it's not aligned, then that's where shit starts not making sense. And then, yeah, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. But this is where it all comes from, is being able to really start to peel back, and it gets too woo woo and you have way too many people that make it like make or break, where now you have to draw out this big fucking plan, and it doesn't need to be that complicated. It just needs to be, are you actually putting thought that goes beyond just trying to open your doors and run a class? And that's how you know, well, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. And what you end up doing is you start looking at what other people are saying, and they're all playing some fucking stupid fitness trend. And then that's what you spend your time on. And it's just a massive, epic fucking waste of time. Or you've been open for 18 months and you've made 7 posts total.
Yeah, I go through. I'm scrolling through some gyms right now on their social medias, and I see every specialty program, or I would describe this as a launch of a new thing they're trying to do. The most I have seen is 2 posts, like literally 2 posts. Most of them it's 1. Like, of the things you're trying to sell, you're not fucking trying to sell them. Let's be real. Let's be real. I want to be real clear about that. That's not effort. That's not what it is. So if you're wondering why you're not selling, it's because you are not trying to sell. If you're wondering why you're not, if your clients are wondering why they're not getting in shape and they don't ever show up to the gym, that makes it pretty fucking easy to explain to them why that's happening. And gyms just don't understand that, like, the things that make you successful in all other things kind of make you successful at whatever it is, whether it's getting leads, selling fitness, attracting people, making money, selling, upselling, getting not upselling, I hate that term, but like getting people to choose higher levels of service. All of that stuff requires effort. And most gyms that are struggling, or that are kind of at the precipice of some fucking crisis, right? Oh my goodness, wife had to go back and get a fucking day job or whatever type of shit is going on. We're like running out of fucking options here. They're not actually fucking trying to market. So at the point of fucking access to your business, you're failing it. And you need to start to actually work on this thing. So being specific can help, while being consistently generalized and being diverse in the things that you're specific about. Again, you want to spend 12 weeks directing things towards females, that's great, but you cannot. Boy, if that becomes your only thing, you ain't never going to get a guy like me to show up to your gym, because I'm going to be like, well, that's definitely not for me. So this is why balance in the specific targeting that you have can now make your product, one, attract people with specific needs, but also attract a lot of different people with very diverse needs towards the specificity that they're looking for. Instead of just yelling into the void, we are gym. We have gym. This is gym. It's fucking okay. I don't know. I guess here is address. You know, that's, people need to know that they can be successful in the things that they want to be successful at. A lot of gym owners don't fucking do that at all. They're not even talking about the successes that their clients have, because very likely they're not. We're failing as an industry. People are getting fatter and fatter every year. Our population's not, and the American population is not winning this fight against obesity right now. The biggest headway we've made on this subject is Ozempic. Frankly. It's not
Pharmaceutical.
fitness professionals are the ones fucking killing it. You know what I mean? God for big pharma, I guess, guys. But
Well,
that's the reality of it, is that, like, you guys need to be fucking better if you care. If you care about making money and you care about making a difference, people, make money making a difference in people's lives. And then you'll get more people to do it, and then talk about those successes. When you're not, it makes people very fucking suspicious if all you're showing is your logo, or you're just slapping your logo on pictures of people exercising. I need to see the results, and most gyms, frankly, can't produce it. That's the reality. I don't see them, because apparently from the outside, it looks like their people are all in just as bad a shape as they were the day they got in. or they were
And
fit when they got there.
and that's another style of content too. So like when we're talking about all these things that you're creating, when you're going to target a very specific group of people, it's results are really important for that type of person.
If I'm a
Like,
house
hey,
painter, I need to show some painted houses, guys. I don't need to just show me painting houses. I need to see a painted house that looks nice when it's done.
and
Does it seem
somebody
too
saying,
crazy?
yeah, and somebody saying, hey, he came and he painted, and goddamn, he's a good painter, and I like his painting. And
And I
people
like the
go, oh,
results.
right.
Not me, paint truck. Here's truck that I paint. Paint with truck. I show up in truck and paint. This is it's terrible. Fitness marketing is either very scammy or it's just super fucking low effort. And so I don't know. Take what we said today with a grain of salt, run with it. Do fucking something. My biggest complaint isn't the lack of specificity that I complain about today, right? It's actually that by being a generalist, what you're doing is you think you're checking lots of boxes at once, and you're not. What you're actually doing is less. So you make a post about everybody and everything, and here's our hours, and here's what we do, and here's our rates, and that's fine. That's wonderful. There's a time and a place for all of that. But
Mhm.
then when that's all you do, well, that you actually didn't do much. Then that's the minimum. That's the baseline. That's getting up in the morning and tying your shoes. That's
Brushing your
not
teeth.
doing it.
Yeah.
Like you can get up and tie your shoes and brush your teeth and do whatever else, take a nice good shower, but that doesn't actually mean you're going to be successful in any of the other stuff that you do because you got to do fucking them too. So get on the game, guys. Get on the ball. Get started. You need to start trying. The gyms that John, do we ever find a gym that's struggling to attract members? Have we even once seen one that is posting more than once or twice a week? Never.
No.
Every single gym that's like, oh, we just don't know what we're gonna do. It's like they'll go these stretches where it's like 3 months, no posts, a year. We've seen gyms go multiple years. We're like, okay, listen, I get social media isn't solely the game that we're playing, but that's pretty fucking crazy. And then when they get desperate, they start posting once a week. But it's just
Because
about membership rates and shit that's not relevant to the success of their actual people. And it doesn't show anybody anything. And so if you
because
want to you want to pick up the ball, you want things to pick up, you need to pick up the ball and fucking move it.
no, and when we call it the social media thing, it's because it's a thing that's an indicator. It's a red flag for us.
Yes.
It's like, oh, well, this isn't happening, so that makes me I need to look over here,
Yeah.
and then I look over here, and then I go, well, that's not happening either, and it's like, oh, got it. Like no, it's not the all end all be all, but it definitely is going to be symptoms of a larger problem, which is big fucking surprise. You're struggling with whatever you're trying to do.
So, guys, I got to go coach. I got a client who is, let's see, 25 days and 15 pounds away from losing. No, not 15 pounds. He's see, 8 weeks. What's 8 weeks, John? How many days is that? 60?
Eight
No,
times 7.
8 weeks.
56.
57?
Yeah.
We'll pretend like that's right.
Ish.
Whatever. Catholic school math.
It's one of those.
8 weeks, 56 days, and less than 20 pounds away from losing 100 pounds in the last year. Exactly his 1 year mark. So get some fucking results, guys, and then everybody will beating down your fucking door to deliver results. It's not that hard. And then you talk about it and the fucking snowballs. So go do that. I'm gonna go fucking wrap up this year of absolutely life-changing fucking success for this guy. And then you guys are gonna wonder why I get all these people who show up and spend a bunch of money and work their asses off and are ready. That's how it fucking happens. So get on the ball, go out there and make some shit happen. We'll see you next week. Bye. Good luck.